Merci, bonjour. It's a pleasure to be here today. Mr. Paul Macharia, Mr. Grégoire Njaka, Mrs. Sandra Macharia and Mrs. Natalia Lieva, Mesdames et Messieurs, chers collègues, I would like first to thank the government of Kenya for welcoming us here and the African Union of Broadcasters for organizing this event. I also extend my gratitude to the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation for hosting this regional media summit on climate change. This is the first time we hold this event in Africa, and this couldn't be more timely. The tragic impact of the extreme rainfall across East Africa and the resulting floods these past weeks are a stark reminder of the critical importance of this agenda, because ultimately, this is about protecting lives and livelihood. Working with public service broadcasters in countries affected by disasters is strategic and vital for the UN Office for Disaster Risk Reduction. Media are part of the necessary transformation for a more resilient world. You are key actors to inspire, educate, show solutions, and generate the actions needed to achieve the goal of the Sendai Framework for Disaster Risk Reduction, the Climate Paris Agreement, and the Sustainable Development Goals. And this is why 4 years ago, we embarked on a partnership with the broadcasting unions. And this partnership has three main objectives. First, we want to strengthen the role of the media in the early warning chain. Media must be fully part of the multi-hazard early warning system activation process. And we are particularly calling your attention on your role in serving the last mile of communication to those who are most at risk. And to this end, we are encouraging the establishment of working groups, bringing together national Met offices, national disaster management agencies, and national broadcasters. These groups can strengthen an horizontal coordination and coherent messaging in times of crisis. Our second objective is to strengthen the resilience of broadcasters when disaster strikes. How long can you keep broadcasting if there is a blackout? What would it take to restore live broadcast after an earthquake or a cyclone? Media are a lifeline for affected populations to access critical information in a disaster. And to be able to fulfill this role, broadcasting infrastructure must be resilient, and your operations must be prepared to react swiftly in time of disasters. Finally, as we heard, disseminating information about risk doesn't always lead to behavior change or meaningful preventative action. And we have seen that across many countries during the pandemic. And this is why our third objective is to expand the scope of disaster reporting. Media coverage is often about disaster is often reactive, where, what happened, how many affected people, what is the extent of the losses. And this is very important. But if we are to restore public trust, if we are to drive the change we need to build resilient societies, we need public conversations about risk. And we need this conversation to take place also in times of peace. We need the media to talk about disaster risk, to showcase international and national solutions, good practices, engage and serve people on the crucial disaster risk reduction issues that affect their lives and livelihoods. Because disaster risk reduction is important to your audience. It's about personal safety. It's about your family. It's about your personal finance. It's about business and the economy. And the co-production that will be presented tomorrow will illustrate how you can contribute also to this public conversation about risk and resilience through longer form of reporting. The Sendai Framework states that governments have the primary responsibility to reduce disaster risk. But the framework also stresses the importance of engaging all stakeholders in risk reduction efforts, including the media, because ultimately, disaster risk is everyone's business. Et nous comptons sur vos contributions. Merci.